Welcome to my YouTube channel, Vastu Creations. Today we're going to look at the Vedic Astrology chart for Will Smith, who's a very famous, the most powerful actor in Hollywood. If you look to the eastern horizon using Vedic sidereal zodiac, you would see that the constellation associated with Taurus is rising at 14 degrees, which that becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planets like Sun and the nodes, Rahu and Ketu, that are within 5 degrees have a lot of impact in the chart. First, we're going to see how the planets are operating, and then we'll see timing of events when the planets are operating, and then we'll look at what we could do to remedy the chart. So let's just start with Sun. Sun is ruling the fifth house. So Sun gives happiness through family and property. It is placed in the fifth house of creativity. And so happiness comes through his creativity. Sun is leadership, his leadership and organizational skills. And this makes him one of the most powerful actors in Hollywood. Now, Sun is ruling that house of happiness through family, so it is slightly weak because it is sitting in a house ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is poorly placed in the sixth house. So Sun can't be any more powerful than its landlord or its house ruler. So it is a little bit weak in that sense, could create some stress with father and also stress in the family. He did get a divorce. So then Moon is in old age. Any planet more than 25 degrees is said to be in old age, and it's poorly placed in the sixth house. And so Moon is ruling the house of success, entrepreneurial success, and it is placed in that sixth house. So this connects his entrepreneurial success with performing arts for the public. Moon is public and can involve conflict and healing. So a lot of his acting roles are said to be very healing, like The Pursuit of Happiness, and they involve some conflict as well. Now Mars is functionally malefic because it is Aries, ruled by Mars, is in the 12th house. So any planets that, multicona signs that are in the 6th, 8th, and 12th, and their rulers become functional malefic. So Mars is functional malefic, and it is at 9 degrees, and it is placed in the house of happiness through home life. So the 12th house has to do with spiritual growth through detachment. So he can be slightly detached from his home life because he's working a lot and very driven. Mars makes him very passionate and driven to be successful. And a fierce defender of his family as well, as we can see what happened on the Oscar night. So it gives him the ability also to take on, be detached from who he is, to take on the different acting roles that he plays. And then let's see. Mercury is at 5 degrees, and it is weak because it's placed in the sixth house of conflict. And it's afflicted by Venus as well. They're very close together. So Venus is also functional malefic because Libra in the sixth house, ruled by Venus, becomes functional malefic. And that means it can cause some challenges in the transit chart and the birth chart. So Venus, let's see. We skipped Jupiter. Jupiter is also functional malefic because it is Sagittarius is in the 8th house. 8th house is a Dustana house, the challenging house. and it's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter's at 26, slightly in old age, and it gives him ability to research acting roles that he is playing, and it's placed in the house of happiness. So those acting roles give him a lot of um, uh, happiness. So then Venus, poorly placed, conjunct Mercury, um, uh, and it gives him good looks and the ability to entertain. Venus is all about performing arts. Now it is placed in the house of conflict, so those acting roles can involve some conflict and some healing as well. And he's a rapper, which is the words are said to be healing and involving some conflict. Saturn is at 0 degrees, so any planet less than 5 degrees is said to be in infant state, and it cannot promote or protect its own significations. Now, Saturn is ruling that house of career, and so that gives the significations for Saturn are hard work and discipline, and it gives him the ability to focus and be very driven and to be successful in his career. Now, Saturn is debilitated as well, but Saturn is the planet that gives ability to be in service and in charity. So, and all these three planets in the sixth house also give ability to be a philanthropist and being very involved in charity work. So that charity work is remedying all his malefic planets: Rahu, Ketu, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. Now, Rahu and Ketu are also functional malefic. They're close to the most effective point, which means that they afflict 6 out of his 12 houses: 11th house of income, 3rd house of success, 5th house of creativity, 9th house of good fortune, 1st house of self, and the 7th house of marriage. So he did get a divorce. There are some setbacks that he's had in his life, but all of his charity work and philanthropy are all remedies for the issues with Rahu and Ketu. So Ketu is giving insights into creativity, placed in the 5th house of creativity. And Rahu is giving desire for income and social connections and fulfillment of desires in the 11th house. And they are always balancing something. So in this case, they're balancing creativity with income. So some people choose acting roles that will give the most income. Some people choose acting roles that will give more creativity. His is in balance. A starving artist would be favoring only the creativity, not the income. But his is very much in balance. He's very wealthy and very much into the creative aspect of his work as well. Now let's look at the timing of events. So his debut, pretty much his success started with The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Aired from 90 to 95 during a Saturn Rahu period. Rahu giving that desire for social connections and income, and Saturn giving the hard work and discipline. And then got married in 92 during a Jupiter period, so big change of life, but with some challenges. So there was a divorce. 95 he met Jada during a Mercury period, which Mercury is also about children, and it is placed in the house of divorce. So that also created probably the divorce from his first wife. 98, he had his son during a Mercury period. Mercury's ruling the house of children. 2020, he had a daughter, and that's during a Sun period. That's ruling the house of family. And then the most famous recent incident is March 27th. 2022 during the Oscars. He received an Oscar, and he also slapped a fellow actor and is now banned from the Oscars, and he also quit the Academy of Oscars. So all of that happened, and if you look at the chart on the left, the circular chart, the inner circle is where the planets were when he was born, just like the rectangular chart to the right, and the outer circle is where the planets were on that specific day. And so if we look at this, we can see that many things were happening. Saturn, Venus, which is malefic, is afflicting Saturn, so creating conflict in his career, setbacks to his career. Venus ruling the house of setbacks and conflict. And then you see also Mars is afflicting, transit Mars is afflicting transit Moon. So Moon is mind and emotions. And then K2, transit K2 is afflicting natal Moon. So a lot going on with his mind and emotions that day, overreacting to the situation. And then you see Rahu, a natal Rahu is afflicting Sun, and Sun is his happiness and his family. Now Venus is his wife, so she was disparaged by Chris Rock, and then he ended up slapping Chris Rock for a joke about his wife's alopecia, which is hair loss. So a lot happening on that day, in that moment, and it's interesting that it shows up so well in the chart. Now, what could we do to remedy the chart? So again, I said to transform all the malefics, he's already doing the charity and philanthropy work. So we just want to strengthen his benefic planets, which are Saturn, which is weak in degrees and poorly placed, Mars, which is weak because its dispositor is, Mars is malefic, so it's being already taken care of. Jupiter, which is weak in old age, and its dispositor, Sun, is weak, affecting his happiness and family. And then Sun, which is, again, his happiness and family. Jupiter's malefic also. So it's basically, we want to strengthen Saturn, Sun, Mercury, and Moon. So those 4 planets. And that we can do with a kavash, which is a silver locket you can see on our website, vastucreations.com, that contains the Devata yantras to strengthen those particular planets. And it also contains paramagnetic material to protect you from 5G. So if you are interested in getting a reading, you can see this transformation of Vedic astrology quite accurate. You can go to vastucreations.com under services. If you would like to learn this astrology, you can go to Vastu Creations under courses. And you can also be certified by taking level 2 Vedic astrology. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Take care.